and welcome to the Boyd Family January Challenge. Today, you are being challenged to make Grandpa Mondo's bread recipe. So, some ingredients that you will need. You will need yeast. You may have a vague bag like I do. You might need to go to the store and buy a small bag. That's okay. You will need a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, some water, and some flour. Now, if you don't have any of these ingredients, I suggest that you stop the video now, go to the store, and purchase those ingredients. So our first step, we have 2.5 cups of warm water directly from the sink. We're going to pour that into a large bowl. In that bowl, we are going to add a tablespoon of yeast. If you buy the packet of yeast, just throw the whole packet in there. We're going to add a tablespoon of salt. This is very unlike me. Normally I don't measure. But for all of those out there that want measurements, and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. The salt is going to add flavor. The sugar is going to help the yeast rise a little bit faster, so we get nice fluffy bread. So we're just going to mix this around a little bit. And let's show you what that looks like. So you got kind of a milky look to it right there. And we're going to come back and you're going to let that sit for about 8 to 10 minutes. Great. Hello and welcome back. As you can see, our yeast has dissolved into the water and the sugar and the salt has as well. Now what we're going to do is slowly add some flour to it. The amount of flour is going to vary. Believe it or not, it does vary based on humidity, it varies based on latitude, feet above sea level, all of those things. It's very minute amount, but it always will vary. And the temperature of the water will also make it vary as well. So we're just going to add in 1 cup of flour at a time, and you'll see that it is just chunky, floury, pasty mix. So we're just going to take a spoon. We're going to stir that around a little bit. 2nd cup of flour. Stir that around a bit. It's about a ratio of 2 cups of flour to 1 cup of water, but that's not exact. And when you don't add in exact cups, you're not going to know. So that's our 3rd cup of flour. Again, we did 2.5 cups of water. You could always do more water, or you could do less water. That's going to determine how much dough you're going to have. So it's good to have a little left over, or make 47 pizzas like Mom used to do. Okay. That's our 4th cup of flour. You can see the flour is starting to get a little doughy here, which is good, but it's still way too sticky. So it's definitely going to be a 5th cup of flour, plus some more when we're working with it. Just be a little bit easier. The consistency that you want it to be kind of elastic. You don't want it to stick to your fingers too much though. That's not good. It's too watery then. The other thing is you can always add in more flour. It's a little bit harder to add in more water, but you can for sure. So right now, I'm just going to start kneading this dough in. So kneading is just flipping it over, not pressing it down. A lot of people will tell you that you should knead on the flat surface. I think kneading in the bowl makes less of a mess, so that's what I do. So you're going to knead for about 10 minutes, and what you'll see and you'll notice is that, yeah, some of the dough is coming off and sticking to my hand, but that's okay, because there's still so much flour in the bowl that hasn't been taken up by the yeast yet, or by the this glob of dough. So you're just having that, have your flour handy, and you can always just add in another handful. Okay, so all I'm doing again is taking the dough, I'm folding it in half, I'm pressing it on itself. Taking the dough, folding it in half, pressing it on itself. Great example of exponential growth here. Welcome back. So after kneading for about 10 minutes, you should have the dough kind of looking like this. It's stretchy, but if you notice, it's not really sticking to my hands at all. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to just sprinkle a little flour on, and we're going to grab a dish rag, and we're going to put that dish rag on top. That's not a dish rag, that's a baby! Hi Lauren, say hi to everybody. Okay, another way of kneading it is you could use my daughter's feet. Not recommended. So we're going to use
show the dish towel.
Oh, sorry. We're going to show the nice dish towel here. If you hoppy and you know it, very hoppy here.
Drink craft beer.
Drink craft beer. So we're going to cover that up, and we're going to let that sit for 3 hours. So check the clock, and you're going to let it sit for 3 hours. And while we're doing that, we're going to be doing some shots.
Shot, 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 shot.
So, a little apple cider vinegar. Never hurt anyone. See you in 3 hours. Your dough has risen like so. So what we're going to do now is we are going to just wash my hands. We're going to punch it down. It'll be a little tough on top, a little layer. Scroll around in here a little bit. Now, the recipe that we did makes 2 loaves of bread. I am not going to do 2 loaves of bread. I'm going to take my dough and about cut it in half or so. I'm going to do 1 loaf of bread, and I'm going to save some for some pizza. So, I'm just going to take a little bit of flour, spill out, and I'm going to roll out my loaf of bread. Now, if you really want the loaf of bread to look good, there's a couple tricks you can do. Fold it on itself once, and then fold it into itself, like so. And then you're going to roll it out. And you're going to have this little kind of seam here. That's okay. So, the old recipe also calls for just a little bit of cornmeal. So, if you have cornmeal, you can use it. I'm not crazy about cornmeal, so I'm going to use just about a pinch. Put it on my surface here. Just roll my dough in it a little bit. Lots of variations you can do. You can add spices to it if you wanted to, whatever you want. Now, this is going to continue to rise, so I'm going to roll this out a little bit more. For my Italian loaf here. Okay. I got a baking sheet. Hopefully you can hear Lauren crying in the background. Just gonna do a little bit of olive oil. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to just kind of lay this on here. And we're gonna let this sit for about 45 minutes. So, before we actually even start baking the bread, why you would want to do this, you're going to let it rise one more time so that it's going to be a little bit more kind of airy. So I'm going to put this next to my stove over here, and that's it. So 45 minutes to an hour, you'll let that rise. Preheat the oven to 425, and it says cook for an hour. Now, cooking for an hour could be a little bit too much. Again, depends on the strength of your oven, so just keep an eye on it. What you want to have is like a little knock to the bread, but you don't want it to be burnt. Alright, so I will see you after I take this out of the oven. So again, let rise for 45 minutes, so it gets a little bit more airy. Then we're going to cook it for about an hour on 425, and then we'll see how it goes. Welcome back. We let our dough rise for about an hour, so you can see it's a little bit bigger here. One last, just kind of trying to have it be even as you go out throughout there. The last thing we're going to do is get a knife, and we're going to cut 3 slits in it. This will just make it look a little fancy. Definitely not necessary, but just a way to liven up your bread a little bit. Alright. Now it's into the oven. It will get bigger, much bigger. See you in an hour. Alright, so it's been about 45 minutes. Take a look down at the bread that we're going to pull out now. And here's a loaf of bread. So I hope all of you take on the challenge of trying to do a loaf of bread. If it's bad, just add butter and it's good. But I'm sure that it will be great. Enjoy. Make sure you take lots of pictures and document, and I look forward to you challenging me.